Hi there, Stephen Williams here, and I'm welcome to my new channel called Behind the Veil. You're gonna ask, what is up with this new channel? And this is a channel that is going to help you. It's going to help you focus in on getting successful in a lot of different areas. But I specifically am going to encourage you in 4 different areas. One of them is going to be your fitness. The other will be your finance. We'll talk about your focus, and we're going to talk about your faith. So this is a channel that is all encompassing, and it's here to help you develop and grow and be prepared to walk in your complete destiny. I have this saying, I'm fighting to be fit. And so some time ago, I was sitting down and I was working. I was very overweight at the time. I was I was extremely overweight. It's like really fat. And I started exercising, going after my body. I was inspired by a young lady at my church, and I was inspired to get myself in shape. And as I was doing that, what I found out, we all started out as a great group. And then after a while, I had to figure out how to motivate my own self, because what I've noticed is that everybody doesn't actually have the same or work at your same pace. And so having done that, I created this slogan, I'm fighting to be fit. And so we're going to be fighting to be fit, but we're fighting to be fit in 4 really good areas. Number 1, in our finances. We've got to get our finances. We've got to get our focus. We have to get our faith, to increase our faith. And we have to work on our temple, which is our fitness. And so this is going to be a channel that talks about behind the veil. How do we do it? How do people do what they do? Everybody's always interviewing the great ones who've made it to the top. But there are some people who are walking with you, who have come through some serious situations and some serious trials. And it's stuff that's really happening behind the veil. They're not showing you what's really going on. And so tonight on my first broadcast, I'm going to share with you some of the stuff that was dealing with me and how we overcome those things. What do you say? Who am I? What do I do? I do quite a bit. I've been very fortunate and I'm very blessed to be talented and gifted in so many different areas. And what I found out is that even in that, it comes with a price. It comes because you've got to learn how to go through a struggle. We're in this day and age where everybody's looking for an excuse of why they can't be, why they can't do, why they can't get done what they need to get done. And so let's go back. Let's travel back. And let me get you behind the veil of what's happening, what has happened with me. Be a little transparent. From a small town called Rockingham, North Carolina. And what we would do down there in Rockingham, North Carolina, we would run and play football in the street and fight with each other because it was an area that really you were locked in. We had several little elementary schools. We had several little middle schools at the time. And then we were split off. I'm old enough to know about high schools. We had some junior high schools. And we all reported to one big old high school. And most of us were athletic, or most of us was doing something. And we had to do whatever we felt like we were going to do. My proclivity, I wanted football and basketball. Regardless of what anybody says, if you go down there, they'll tell you I was good at it. I was pretty good at playing football and basketball, although my brother was actually better. He was a better athlete than I was. But here are some of the things that happened. Most people, I don't know if they knew, I don't know if they talked about it, I don't know if they shared it. But when I was 2 years old, my youngest brother was born, and my father left us. He left and didn't come back for 9 years. And so here we are, distraught. Well, I got a mom with 4 kids, 3 of us brothers, three boys, 1 girl, and we are tougher than nails. They are tougher than nails. I'm always the odd one out. Always the odd one out. They wanted to play outside. I wanted to play inside. They like getting hot and sweaty. I like being in the cool. And so there was a lot of stuff that was going on. But I listened to the people in this day and age, and they use different kinds of excuses about them not having a father. Hey, we didn't either. We didn't turn to a total life of crime. We did our dirt as little kids. But when you get behind the veil, what you see now in a person is not where they come from. And so when you go through that, we had nothing. We were actually poor. I didn't realize how poor we were until I actually go to college. And so we're poor, like POOOOOR. But again, that's just like everybody else's story. There's a lot that's going on that's like everybody else's story, not growing up with enough. And so there are a lot of people now using that as an excuse to do bad things. But if you get behind the veil, I may look like a nerd, or I may look like I didn't come from that. But you have to see, we had to learn how to persevere. I can recall there were several times where we would sit up, and I'm gonna be finished in a minute. I'm gonna give you some nuggets, and we'd have different kinds of foods and stuff that we had to fight for. But it was tough. So we learned some different kinds of lessons. In each one of the sessions that you're going to hear on this Behind the Veil channel is going to be talking about, we're going to be going through how the people survive and overcome and become successful or semi-successful or successful in their eyes. And so we went through all of those things. And so it became a thing. So here's a point that I want to share tonight from Behind the Veil. It is the mechanism by which it keeps you flowing. It keeps you moving. It keeps you fighting. When you have nothing, you don't give up easy. And so that's one of the things that is happening with people who are successful. Here we go. So when we're fighting to be fit in our area of finances, and our focus, and our faith, and in our fitness, our finances, our focus, and our faith, one of the things is you've got to learn how to put blinders on if you want something. What I learned during that time, and we'll come back to it, but what I learned during that time is that you have to be true and honest with yourself. You have to be true and honest with your heart, because there's no way for you to actually feel comfortable. You weren't made to be in anybody else's skin. You were made to be in your own. And so you have to learn how to focus, because this world will create distractions. It'll create so many different types of distractions. And if you're not careful, you'll start trying to be like what you are not. It's not something. And we had to learn to fight, to fit in where we were, be good where we were. And I think out of all of my siblings, I struggled with that the most, because I wanted to please everybody. But they were gung-ho about doing whatever it is that they were doing. And they were true to themselves. And it took me a little time to become true to myself. And it was after some heartache. But one of the things is, if you're going to do this in your finances, in your focus, and in your faith, and in your fitness, you must develop blinders. Second thing is, you can't make excuses. There are no excuses. Don't make excuses. Whatever hand you've been dealt, deal with the hand that you've been dealt and keep on moving in that hand. Because what's happening is you have peaks and valleys. And so I was very good athletically. And so it taught me team, but it also taught me isolation. And so I learned to live by myself, live within myself. And that's good and bad on some occasions. But what it did, it made me reflective. It made me focus. It made me study. So I became a study guru. which is one of the things we're going to talk about in Behind the Veil. Because what you see people driving, how they're looking, how they're acting, how they're smiling, it comes with a price. Most people, most of us are not faking. Most of us are being true and real for who we are. And we're hustling and we're doing what we need to do to survive. And so that mechanism, I had to learn who I was. And then when I started discovering how gifted I was, one of the best gifts that I found out that I have, and maybe this is you, I am a student of understanding. I can understand something. It doesn't take like rocket science for me to grasp a situation. It doesn't take rocket science. It doesn't take me long to know what's happening, what's going on, who's doing what. I can sense it. I can feel it. It's a gift. It's a part of my giftedness. Rational thinking, being able to look down the road and being able to see things from a different perspective, really from a different seat. And so I've learned how to have all of these things, all of these gifts to be able to flow into. But it took time. It took some challenges. It took some problems. It took some failures. It took some things going down. It took losing some things for me to discover exactly who I am. But what I did was, I would tell you, my focus is just dead lock on. And if you're going to be successful in whatever you're going to do, you're going to have to be successful. We have so many stories, man. I remember growing up, don't tell nobody. I remember growing up with the Boy Scouts, and we didn't have any money, so we acted like we were in the Boy Scouts. Oh, I was a young criminal. We acted like we were in the Boy Scouts or something, and we were collecting money in front of Belk, and then some lady called us and told us, we know you're not we know you're not in the Boy Scout. I know your mama. And we were busted, so we had to go home. We get home, my mama said, give all that money away. Give that money back to those people. Y'all just took those people's money. And so there was no way for us to do it. We had been taking money all day long. And in the process of doing that, I get back. And here is my analytical mind. I then become the banker. I'm going to split the money and make sure everybody gets their cut. And it is those things to be able to, even in a problem situation, you have to learn how to take on a leadership role. And so that stuff translates. When we go behind this veil, you're going to find out that there are people who are doing some wonderful and marvelous things, but they didn't get there overnight. They've had a trial and a tribulation. I am heavy into music. I'm heavy into public speaking, heavy into the church, heavy into motivational speaking. I'm heavy into writing songs. I'm heavy into singing songs. I'm heavy into all of that. And but it didn't come overnight. For years, up until I was 19 or 20. 19, I was an athlete. Didn't even realize that I had these kinds of gifts. So you have to go in and get comfortable with who you are. So the question is, do you really know that? Or are you still trying to fit into somebody's mold? You'll never get comfortable with yourself. You'll never get comfortable with your plan if you are trying to fit into somebody else's definition of who you are. To get from behind that veil, you're going to have to figure out a way and how to be comfortable with that. Sometimes that comes with time. Sometimes it comes with problems and situations. But whatever it does, you're going to have to learn how to do that. And when we get from behind this veil, you're going to find out it's some great stuff. I won't bore you with a whole lot tonight, but we're going to focus in. We're going to get ourselves focused. This channel is going to help you be successful. We're going to give you some tools on how to focus, on how to do your finances, how to be fit, and increase your faith. This is the whole point of getting behind the veil. You won't believe there are some single mothers out there who are doing it. They're getting it done. No, they haven't. They're not on television, but they're successful and they've maintained. How did they do it? You may be going through that. If your mother and father had an interracial relationship and the time from back when I was born, back when I was growing up versus now. It's totally different. Because it's more intermingling now, but there are still some things that are happening that you're being challenged on. And so, how do you overcome that without becoming angry? How do you handle the fact that you may not feel as beautiful as you think you are, as others think you are? There are things, and how do you do that without becoming overbearing? We have to learn how to become successful. We have to learn, and we're going to go behind this veil, and we're going to find out. We're going to ask some different questions about the scripture and why are certain things happening. At the time of this, we have an interesting president. Says a lot of things, but interesting nonetheless. But I think it is worth noting. It is worth making a note to. Are you going to focus in on what he's saying or what the economy is saying, or are you going to listen to what's happening within you? See, the trick is if you begin to continue to focus on the outside distractions, you will never agree with what's inside of you. And then you'll never become like you need to become. You'll never go like you need to go. You'll never be like you need to be. And so in this season, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we learn some things about our faith, our focus, our finance, and our fitness. Because I think those are the 4 areas. If you can do that, your emotions will be stabilized. And we're going to bring in some people, some experts, and teach us how do we get our credit score high? How many of you want that? How many of you need that? How many of you need to know about that and your finances? And we should have more saved. I believe in the Dave Ramsey thing, but with one caveat, one twist. After you save your $1,000, you need to continue to save some more, because anytime you're going to have an event, an emergency, it may be more than $1,000. And so if you don't have that $1,000, then you're going to have to actually go back and dip into your monies that you were using to pay down. So it's just little things like that we're going to go behind the veil, and we're going to help. I'm totally convinced that when it comes to fitness, it is a matter of what you are putting in your mouth. It is a matter of what you're eating. You can exercise all you want, but you can never outrun the table. You can never outdo any of that. And so it's little tricks that we must do. We must take care of ourselves. You get one body in this earth, one body that you need to take care of. Now, I know some people believe in reincarnation and how you come back, but I'm not sure you're going to come back in the same body. So we got to take care of these vessels, and we have to be able to make sure you do that. And you got to take care of your finances, and you can't do any of that without focus. And then some of that requires faith. And so I ask you to subscribe somewhere down here. Subscribe to this channel. It's going to be informative. It's going to happen weekly. And so you're going to get some great information. Again, Stephen Williams here. And we want to make sure that you walk into your destiny, walk into your wealthy place, and be healthy doing it and be happy. And we're going to do this. And I appreciate you for coming in, checking me out, pass it along, send this word out. Come on, go. Let's find out behind the veil. Every Tuesday, it's going to happen around about 8 o'clock. Every Tuesday, we're going to be on at 8 o'clock. Sometimes we're going to do it this way. Sometimes we're going to be live with interviews. But it's going to be informative, and we're going to give you information on how you can do it. And we're going to fight to be fit. Hey, until next week, I'll see you later. Make sure, subscribe, and share it with your friends. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful ride.